Hi, welcome to Actual Spinster. My name is Anna Marie. I'm very, very tired right now, but like I just kind of still wanted to make a video, so I hope you can bear with me. This is like a very dorky video, but basically, so following on from the like booktube event Victober, where you read Victorian books in October, I like the idea of in November trying to read something Edwardian, because it's like, you know, continuing on like the chronology. And also I would say that like I quite like Edwardian fiction, or at least I think it's quite an interesting time for publishing for various reasons. And obviously there's a lot of like very famous Edwardian children's literature that comes out, between the years of 1901 and 1910, which is the Edwardian era. And obviously also like there's something about that feels like such like a stark contrast to the Victorian era, which was like 70 years, or like 1837 to 1901. And Victoria died in January of 1901, so pretty much most things published in 1901 I think are kind of Edwardian, but obviously like, you know, all of this is very arbitrary. It's using monarchs to determine social change, when actually what changes is not really about who's like the head of a country. It's more about the people. But it is just like a useful way to section up time. And there are of course like specific things related to various like heads of state, I guess. Anyway, sometimes I listen to myself and I think I would love to know what she's talking about one day. But yeah, okay, so anyway, I thought I would just show you like a couple things that I have. One of them I got for free today. Some potential plans I have. I mean, I think, you know, it'd be great if I could read like one thing. I don't know how likely it is I will. I just had this like deadline and I'm like trying to relax by watching a bunch of like fun films. So I watched Dracula, like the 1930s ones, yesterday, and then after I finish filming this I'm going to watch the Christopher Lee version today. So I'm very excited about that, and I loved Dracula 1930s. Like, it was like not good, but it was also like incredible, wouldn't change a thing, loved it. He's so sexy, so it's okay, you know, he's got charisma. I thought I would show you some books that I have potentially to read. I guess this one is the one that is maybe the most tenuous. I have like 3 physical books to show, and then like I have 2 books that are kind of like sort of included but not included for various reasons, which I also thought I would show, because like, you know, it's you know, this is all fine. Nobody, like, it's not a thing. I mean, if you'd be interested in doing this as a thing, like Edwardian November, Edvember, I guess, then like definitely let me know. But who has spoons? Anyway, okay. Again, all of that preamble, but this is H.G. Wells' The First Man in the Moon, and this was published in monthly installments in the Strand magazine from December 1900 to August 1901. So it obviously bridges like before Victoria's death and afterwards, but I mean, like, I think that I would count this. It seems interesting in terms of like socialist utopian, I don't know, like representation, and it's about a failed playwright and a brilliant inventor who invade the moon together, ? They fashion a sphere from the gravity-defying substance cavorite and go where no human has gone before. On the back it says, this is both an inspired and imaginative fantasy of space travel and alien life, and a satire of turn-of-the-century Britain and of utopian dreams of a wholly ordered and rational society. Did I also say that another reason why I thought this would be fun to do is because obviously when I did do my Victober reading, I did read Shirley, which is from 1849, but 2 of the books I read were from the 1890s, so it also feels kind of nice to then go into the 1900s in the next decade. But yeah, so there's this, and obviously this is pretty short, so that would be fairly quick to read, ? Who knows? Can I read any more? Who knows? Then I have E. Nesbit. So obviously she is very famous, like Edith Nesbit is very famous for her children's stories, which mostly did come out in the Edwardian era, including like The Railway Children. I think The Would-Be Goods was from 1900, but like that series of those ones, and then The 5 Children, those ones and stuff like that. She's just, yeah, pretty iconic. And she was also a socialist, and she like was writing that in her fiction for children purposefully. This is a collection of her horror stories that I think span from her writing in the 1890s through into the 1920s, maybe the 1910s. So definitely not all of them are from the Edwardian era. I tried to go through and figure out, and I got some dates for some of these. There's like 1, 2, 3, for 5. There's at least 5 from the 1890s, from, again, as far as I could tell, and there's definitely one from 1908, which is The Three Drugs, so I'm going to read that story. It would be interesting to read a horror story as opposed to a children's story from her, because obviously the energy and the target audience I think is quite different. And then I guess I should have talked about this one next in terms of chronology, but whatever. This one I'm the most interested in generally, and also this I would be reading like kind of on purpose for my PhD and research and stuff, so I probably won't pick this up like super soon, but it would be cool to read it now. And it is like, it has quite large font, which is nice. But yeah, so this is A Girl Among the Anarchists by Isabel Meredith, which is actually written by Helen and Olivia Rossetti, as in from the very famous Rossetti family. They, as teenagers, facilitated a like periodical called, I'm not sure if it, like a magazine, you know, that was called The Torch, which was about an anarchist communism. And they lived, what was it called? White Ways? Yeah, well, they definitely were part of like an alternative living community at one point. I can't remember what it's called, and it doesn't say on the back, I don't think. I'm obviously really interested in this. Very excited to get to it. I mean, I think it's also got a really great title. Honestly, feels like a mood. So yeah. That's that. And I think this is from 1903 or 1904. The other two that I kind of wanted to show, which don't count. Well, this one specifically doesn't count, and then this one also kind of... Well, I mean, they don't. Both of them don't count. But this is from 1909, so that's why it could kind of count for, like, reading something that, like, continues on the chronology from the 1890s, but it isn't, like, Edwardian because it was written in French, and published in France. Oh wait, this is from 1901. Literally this whole time I've been thinking it's from 1909. Why did I think that? Well, okay. I mean, it still is in the time frame, but yeah, it's also not geographically part of the actual Edwardian era. I can tell I'm very tired. So this is A Woman's Affair, or Idylle Saphique, by Liane de Pougy. She wrote it in Paris, and it's like a romantic play, kind of about her affair with Natalie Clifford Barney. And this has been on my TBR, like, I think I put it on my Women in Translation TBR, and I didn't get to it, and I'd love to read it before the end of this year, but who knows if I will. But yeah, it'd be great if I could. And yeah, and then the other thing is a book I've also mentioned in a TBR, but the more recent one in my autumn TBR, and I would really like to read this in November. This is useful for my research. But it's from 1913, but I thought perhaps this had been serialized before it was published, but at least on the back it isn't saying that it was, so it's you know, 3 years out of date, but it's, you know, a priority, and I just wanted to mention it because, like, I didn't say the name. This is Miss Nobody by Ethel Kearney Holdsworth, or Ethel Kearney, which is, I think, a romance, and it like centers on working class women, and Ethel Kearney Holdsworth was a socialist, and she was an outspoken anti-fascist. Those are some options for November. This is like not really a TBR, it's more just like talking a little bit about Edwardian books that I have to read, question mark. But I just sort of thought it would be nice to share. Definitely let me know if you're interested in any of these, or if you have Edwardian books that you want to read, and also let me know if you'd be interested in me talking about Edwardian books I have read. I kind of was thinking I could do a follow-up video to my Victorian socialist fiction video and do an Edwardian socialist fiction video, although I do also feel like I haven't read as many of those recently, but I do have quite a few, but it would be skewed in children's fiction area, which could also be quite interesting. But yeah, so let me know if you'd be interested in that. I also, even if nobody says they're interested, I might still do it, who knows, we'll see. Okay, I will stop nattering on and watch Dracula, and yeah, leave you to it. I hope you're having a nice day when you're watching this, and I will talk to you when I next talk to you. Bye!